What is that? Oh, why? It's crying Umineko. That means seagulls. Hi, everybody. We're getting back to it. I believe this is chapter 6 of episode 3. It's definitely in the middle. So as a quick recap, and we streamed a little bit on the Discord, so I wanted to quickly go through that. Essentially what happened is we got a little bit more interiority from Ava. Ava seems to, so that prediction I made a while ago that like episode 1 had like Natsuhi toward the end, and then episode 2 it was Rosa. It seems like episode 3 is going to be more Ava focused. That said, we ended the last chapter on a cliffhanger, and it's a hell of a cliffhanger. Rosa has divulged some information, and I'm losing my mind. So we need to get to this like immediately. Basically, she said she killed Beatrice. So, what? So, I need to know what the hell's happening. Just so you know, we had a whole chapter where Beatrice and there's a new character. When we get started, I'll show you the new character. It's a butler guy. He's apparently like a head demon. There was a whole chapter where it was just like them talking about logic and like they're really leaning into the chess game and stuff. But really, the main chunk of it is there's another character you might see. It's Ava's inner child, basically the child version of herself that she made a promise to. And the promise was that she would eventually become the head of the Ushiromiya family. So if you see a younger looking Ava, that's who that is. And then, let's go ahead and just get right into it. I clicked the wrong button. Someone wanted me to, Ronove is the person, Faction just referenced. Someone wanted me to draw you as Ronove, but I'm waiting to see how much you actually like the guy for it. No, I like the guy just fine. He's definitely interesting. We already played this. If this is one of the annoying aspects of the game is that when you misclick, sometimes it takes you into a giant like cinematic session, and I can't get out of it. Please stop. Please stop. Thank you. So we're going to load. That is the wrong button. So all right, here we go. Beatrice. I've been calling you for some time now. Did you not hear me? Oh, okay. Moo. Were you? My apologies. I was lost in thought. Why does she sound completely different? Forgive me. The weather is pleasant. Yes, I can understand how the weather has stolen your heart. Will you have your black tea here? Who am I? What? I will bring some tea now. Wait here for a while. Forget about the tea. Talk with me. Very well. So another thing that I think it was mentioned at the very beginning of this episode that I'm thinking about right now is like, did Kinzo rewind Beatrice? Is that why she doesn't know who she is right now? Kinzo had used the excuse of getting black tea to try and interrupt the conversation for the time being, but his attempt had been very transparent. I sat in a garden chair and beckoned Kinzo to do the same. Kinzo sat down heavily, exaggerating his age. For a while, we sat and appreciated the silence. Who am I? Until today, no one has answered this question. Same girl. For some reason, everyone averts their gaze and evades me. I've known you for a long time. I think of you as my best friend, even as a father. shit just got complicated. That is why I want you so much. Why I want so much for you to tell me. You should know who I am. Why are you worried about something like that? You are Beatrice, the master of this mansion. Is that not so? What more could you want to know? Father's owned? Oh no, look at that sprite. Look at the sprite we got. Oh. Oh man. I do not know. It's weird seeing Beatrice like this. Not like rewinding time constantly to like kill man. What's this? Don't you even understand what it is you want to know? How mysterious. In one's youth, there are times one wants to play in the maze of thought that has no exit. Perhaps that's what your worries are. Kinzo laughed as though it was a trivial matter. I can't read today. However, I couldn't help but feel that this behavior was another attempt to force me to stop any further questioning. So you won't tell me. After all, there's nothing to tell. You are Beatrice. Beatrice. Isn't that more than enough? No, that's not it. What I wish to know is not my name. I want to know who I am. Who am I? Who am I? What am I? How long have I been here? And how long will I have to continue my days here? I really should bring some black tea. Don't you think it a waste of all this fine weather? Man, shut up, Kinzo. What's this all about? It looks like it's probably the story of your past, right? Something like that. Did he... Why does she feel like she's been drugged or something? Oh no! Oh no! Oh, is Kinzo a piece of shit? Is this kind of a gilded cage situation? To think I would go this far back. Well, yeah, Torgo, yeah. But at the same time, like, more, like, way more so than I thought. Like, way more so. Looks like you had some pretty deep worries even then. Wondering who you were. That is to be expected. At the time, I was unable to understand who I was. Or why I was alive. Why I was alive. Because that's the thing. Like, is this just the Silent Hill 2 ritual ending? Or rebirth ending? Mr. Fist. Nice name. Very strong. Thank you for the follow. Why I was alive. Well, in puberty, everyone's captured by those philosophical worries at least once, wondering what meaning there is in their life. Oh, it's in water. Doesn't this just prove you had a charming period like that at one point? I've been in that mansion since the time of my birth, and I lived only inside the mansion. Of course, I went out to the garden, but the area around the mansion was surrounded by a very tall fence. I was unable to leave through it. So this looks like a different mansion from the main mansion. Am I correct in assuming that? So I guess we should assume that there are two mansions on Rokkenjima? And I was told severely that I mustn't leave. This is a different visual design. Yeah, that's basically what I was talking about. It heavily implies, or maybe it does look more, as you can see from like the arches, And the window, it kind of has a church, like a modern church vibe to it. I don't know. It's like weirdly modern. I could walk freely throughout the mansion and the garden. But outside of that, not once was my desire to take just one step outside of my own accord granted. What do you mean by that? Are you trying to say that as far back as you can remember, you were always a bird in a cage? Fuck. Am I literally fucking Battler? Is that what's going on? Did Ryakishi just like download my fucking brain and put it into this goddamn game? Why am I saying the same shit? That's what I thought at the time. After all, as soon as I became aware, I was living like that. I didn't even think to question it. Now you know how I felt reading Sekoroshi? Yeah. Who in the world are you? That's it. That is what I also hope to know. I'm sure you'll say something like, I wasn't a human, I was a witch, right? No, that's not true. That isn't true yet. Or should I say, that was once the case. I was constructed by Kinzo, a human built by a human. No, perhaps I should call it a cage made of flesh. So, I'm getting from this that Kinzo... Do you think Kinzo... Do you think something happened to Beatrice? And then she was like... And then Kinzo like sort of rewound to her? And then resurrected her? In a world where magic exists, which I'm not saying that it is, but... No, perhaps I should call it a cage made of flesh. What the hell? This is getting weird! You probably won't believe it anyway. But listen first. I was a mighty witch who had lived for 1,000 years.
Just redeem posture check.
Posture check. I got posture check. Posture checkmated. But at one point I was summoned by Kinzo. And by that hidden art, that hidden jutsu, Kage Bunshin no Jutsu, I was bound as his prisoner for eternity. Never heard that before. From what we hear in the Yoshiromiya family, you were summoned by grandfather. Made something like a devil's contract with him and gave him the gold. Indeed. That is correct. Then I was supposed to vanish until the contract was complete. But, well, popular women have it rough. Oh man, Kinzo couldn't fucking... Yep, alright. By some turn of events, Kinzo fell in love with me. Grandfather's nearsightedness must have gotten pretty bad. With astigmatism too. Okay, Battler, calm down. To fall in love with you of all things. Okay, fucking rude, dude. Well, to me, there could be nothing more bothersome. However, the power of humans is a frightening thing. He displayed that fearsome power and rooted me to this place. He said I wouldn't be freed until I nodded my head in agreement. Such an overbearing man. Isn't that awesome? Everyone knew grandfather was obsessed with the occult, but who would have guessed he had that power to root down the great witch Beatrice? Baka-bakashi. Ridiculous. Who'd believe such a weird story? As I thought, you don't believe. All I believe in is the fact that you lived in this hidden mansion in the middle of the forest. You are the 19th person on Rokenjima, right? Indeed. Just as you imagine, this is deep within the forest of Rokenjima. A hidden mansion not to be found from the outside world. Its name is Kuadorian. 9 Birds Retreat. 9 birds? 9 birds. How many How many of the... Oh, yeah, by the way. Yeah, I forgot to mention it, but this is Renove. Ronove. So this... soak him in. And then, yeah, we have these ladies. How many of... Yeah, 7. 9 birds? Huh. Kuadorian. Come to think of it, I heard the guest house's real name was Torian? Visitors Retreat. Oh! I see. The naming sense is similar. So, you were grandfather's mistress who lived here in secret. Isn't that right? Mistress isn't the right way to say it. You should probably call it Kinzo's unrequited love. I spoke of it just now, correct? He fell in love with me of his own accord. He then courted me, but I rejected him. Then I was shut up in this hidden mansion. No, that's not quite right. It would be more correct to say that I was shut up in this body. I've got no idea what you said at the end there. In this body. That's... Is the Beatrice we saw at the beginning with the white hair? Is this her? And she got put into the younger, into the kid's body? I need to know who those people were at the beginning of it. Am I like misremembering that? Like the white-haired lady that we saw at the very beginning of episode 3 in chapter 1 of episode 3, that was Beatrice, right? She called herself Beatrice. Was I misreading that? And it was actually Beatrice, the young girl who was talking to this woman? The white-haired woman was Beatrice, yes. Okay, she called herself that, I think. Yeah, that's why I was like, am I remembering this wrong? Or like, what? Anyway. Our Beatrice was the young girl. Yeah, exactly. But was her name Beatrice? Are we making an assumption there? Is this Beatrice not actually Beatrice? Like the physical form? Is this just the white-haired lady who got summoned into this body? Is that what's being implied here? And that the person that we see like physically as Beatrice is a different person? Funny how all the adults keep going, so she's definitely his mistress, and Beatrice is like, not what it's called. Yeah, for real. Yeah, Jan, I could definitely see some like commentary on that. That was something I was reading about recently. Like I was reading on the horror gaming subreddit about Silent Hill F, because there was a bunch of news that came out about the way that Ryukishi wrote Silent Hill F. And one of the things that was just like that just came around was that was how many female staff Ryukishi consulted to construct Silent Hill F's narrative and characters. And of course there was a bunch of fucking bullshit conversation that you would expect from capital G gamers on that subreddit, but there was a bunch of like interesting like sort of ways of viewing that story. And one of the things that I thought that someone said that was really interesting was that Silent Hill F is a pretty accurate is really accurate from multiple standpoints. And one of the things that was represented that isn't really represented a lot in media is how the female characters in that game, some of them were not wholly like supportive relationships. They were like fake supportive, but they were actually at odds with each other, like pushing each other down the stairs potentially, if you believe that. How dare a story be written by a man? In fact, or a story about women at all? It's true. It's funny because like these are the same people who are like Silent Hill 3 is like awesome, and it's like y'all realize that Silent Hill 3 also used like that was one of the really interesting things about the behind the scenes documentary with Silent Hill 3 is that they consulted like all of the female staff to construct Heather. So anyway, I've got no idea what you said at the end there. You will just make fun of it and refuse to listen, right? No, Beatrice. Oh, Battler, come on. That's why you can't be so venomous all the time. Let her like talk, let her be real. Jan, I was like, if he's tackling a subject that like this so thoroughly, my guy is definitely going to confer before acting. Yeah, exactly. After all, you say you don't believe in witches and magic. If you have no ears to hear what I tell you, saying it would be the pinnacle of foolishness. It's not entirely true, but yeah. I get your point. I know what you're saying. I'll decide whether I believe or not. See, yeah, okay. Yes, this is kind of what I was getting at. After all, if I don't ask, the story won't continue. Tell me. Let's hear the story from your past. See, that's the thing, like, if Beatrice thinks that Battler just won't listen, so she shuts down, yeah, it's not just about the story, but, like, you might not change his mind, you know? So, like, you know, I think that it's important to... I like this. I like this little bit right here. Because it's just like, hey, it's never truly pointless to try and connect or to try and talk about these things. Oh, very well. I refused Kinzo when he courted me, but he was not a man to lose heart at something like that. He wanted to make me nod my head in agreement no matter what. He shut me up in this mansion and spent an eternity trying to win my heart. Talk about overbearing. Guess no one likes obstinate men, huh? They're connecting! Yay! I really like when they get along. It's the best. Battler and Beatrice. That's why I'm hoping by the end of this they're going to be very good friends and they're going to like work together on stuff. Like you know, if I were Battler, I would also I would forgive Beatrice for the resurrecting and constantly ripping him apart and then resurrecting him again just to get ripped apart again. Regardless of whether I responded according or not, having a man so desperate for me was, well, as a woman, it wasn't so unpleasant. However, I never accepted his proposal. I tried to find some way to break through his guard, but that barrier was firm, and I couldn't crack it. And then, after trying to resist in various ways, I eventually reached the conclusion that to escape Kinzo's barrier, I would have to throw away this body of flesh. The physical body is a vessel with many restrictions for a magic user. Throw away your body of flesh? What does that mean? Something like an out-of-body experience? Yeah, sure, dude. Well, if you want to think of it that way. However, I am no spirit. Even though I am a witch, in the beginning I was born with a human's body of flesh. So for me, throwing away that physical body, while it didn't mean the same thing as death, it did require a similar level of resolve. So, in other words, you decided that you couldn't be released except by suicide, is that it? It wasn't suicide. It was nothing more than throwing away my body of flesh. Of course, becoming nothing more than soul is a precarious situation. When the soul leaves its body of flesh, it is constantly exposed to the strong winds of the sun. It was not easy for me to maintain myself and avoid being scattered by them. It was a final measure that I wanted to avoid if I could. However, there was no other way to break through Kinzo's barrier. Anyway, I am an unfettered person. Broken Beat, remember when you said Beatrice was a victim? Yeah, no, 1000%. Yeah, this is, I thought we were going to jump right into what Rosa said, but I think that's going to be connected to what we're learning right now. And I also think that was I correct? Was Beatrice, the Beatrice that we just heard talking to Kinzo, was that the same voice actress as this Beatrice? They sounded pretty different. Oh, Spicy Mitten. Same, bud. Same. I couldn't stand being kept in a cage until Kinzo's life was over. It was? Okay. I couldn't see this stuff Beato kept going on about throwing away her body of flesh as anything more than suicide. Grandfather persistently courted her, and to escape from that, she chose her own death? So you're saying you committed suicide? What are you talking about? Isn't that you sitting carefree there in the garden chair? That's right. That is the new cage I was given by Kinzo. Cage? You mean this mansion? No. The body, you idiot. I mean my body, relaxing in the garden chair over there. Even though I was so desperate to escape that I became naught but a soul, Kinzo still had no intention of letting me go. Bro. Wow. Kinzo Omega sucks. Oh, he was a fearsome person. Normally, when the object of one's unrequited love shows that she is willing to die, it should be enough to bring that person to their senses, even if their love has lasted 100 years. Perhaps that's why even he managed to become a sorcerer of sorts. Don't try to confuse me with that incomprehensible witch girl talk. I'm always saying this. I am like, I just said that before we started the stream. Like, verbatim. What exactly are you trying to say? This is what you say to me. Literally, yeah. Beatrice has so many good faces. Also, yeah, the alpha channel on this is kind of fucked. But we get it. That Kinzo didn't let me escape even after I became a soul. Human emotions are terrifying. To think he would be able to exhibit such power. Tying down a dead soul is not something that can be accomplished easily, not even for a magician who specializes in such manners. Because I knew this, Kinzo's fearful magical power shocked me for the first time. Then Kinzo seized my soul and brought me back. However, a cage to hold a seized soul cannot be made from iron or lead. What was I know what Beatrice is trying to say here. I know that Beatrice is trying to say that, like, hey, I'm more than just flesh. I have a soul. There's more to me than just this physical form. So me dying doesn't necessarily mean that I am dead per se. But what was she doing if nothing but committing suicide out of desperation? Like, what was her plan to be brought back, or did she just not care? See, this of anything is giving me resolve that magic doesn't exist, that witches don't exist. Someone can be called a witch, so in that way witches exist. And I think the way that the game is constructing witches and magic is really just another way of saying having will or resolve. And by having will or determination, you can make magic happen. If you really, really want, like Kinzo really, really wanted Beatrice to be his wife, and in that way, he possibly resurrected her somehow. The magic that he performed on her may have literally just been CPR or something. Just like Undertale. Anyway, I'm rambling, but you get what I mean. It's like, this, if anything, it really screams to me like she didn't have a plan. She was desperate, but she doesn't want to admit that she was really like desperate and that she didn't really have a plan. And that this whole thing of like, or maybe she does. We're just not getting it yet. Then Kinzo seized my soul and brought it back. However, iron or lead. Only one thing remained. What? You aren't going to say it was a magical cage or something, are you? Wrong. It's that body of flesh over there, just like yours or mine. Only a cage made of flesh and blood can tie a soul down to this world. Then again, I guess I might be wrong because Beatrice that we're seeing right here that has been in the game previously could be like kind of what we see as her soul. Like her leaving her flesh might have resulted in the kind of Beatrice that we're seeing here. One who's basically, for all intents and purposes, a ghost. So in that way, that could have been the plan, to just literally not be locked down to Kinzo's like mansion. Only a cage made of flesh and blood can tie a soul down to this world. Kinzo shut my soul up in a cage of flesh built to be exactly like me. So there's a floating soul and a body without the soul in it? What do you mean? There's a free-floating soul and a body without the soul in it. Oh, yeah, I guess that would be the case. Because we've seen situations where Beatrice is just like invisible and like people just don't see her. And in that way, you could say that she is like kind of a ghost. Oh, not Kingdom Hearts, no. Please, no. So to sum up, it's like this. Grandfather obstinately courted you, you started to hate it, and you committed suicide. But you weren't clever enough to finish the job? I am not like this man. I am not like this man. This is not me. Damn, you really took a roundabout way to say something like that. Valor. Maybe that's why Beatrice hates your fucking guts. It's because you're kind of a dick. Anyway, no, that's wrong. My soul was shut up in the seat of a homunculus, and I was born out of a test tube. Bakabashi. But that's crazy. That isn't even possible, right? Test tube. I mean, could we chat? Could you tell me when the first they call them test tube babies, but like I forget what it's called, but like that's next year. Reminder, IVF hadn't been invented yet. Yeah, okay. That's literally, Brokaby, you got ahead of that conversation. Thank you. 1978. All right. Kinzo accomplished even the miracle of creating life. Because I could definitely see a situation where Beatrice, like the original Beatrice, died, and so Kinzo like just straight up took one of her eggs, you know? That, oh man, Kinzo. What the fuck? Hopefully this ends with like a video game version of Kinzo as the final boss and we just beat the shit out of him. And simply to shut my soul up in that cage. That he would show such magical power simply because of his own love. A thoroughly terrifying person. See, was it Beatrice that we saw at the beginning? Was that not fucking Rosa? What if it was Rosa? What if Beatrice, the older Beatrice, was playing with Rosa? At the beginning of chapter 1 and episode 3, the beginning of these episodes, what if the little girl who broke the vase was actually Rosa, not this Beatrice that we're seeing, or whatever version of that we're talking about? Wait, no, it was her. No, okay, I got it. New thought. Blue text theory. The Beatrice that we saw at the beginning of episode 3 talking to a small girl, the small girl that Beatrice was talking to was actually this Beatrice, who was the child of Beatrice. Beatrice, the white-haired Beatrice, was talking to her daughter. I feel confident about that one. I think. We'll see. It could also be Rosa. But I'm gonna blue text that one. I'm gonna lock in because it's fun when we lock in on things, right? It's fun. So I'm locking in on that one. Also, I don't know if I've said it yet, but blue text magic, well, witches aren't real except in the idea that someone can claim to be a witch, but in terms of witches being able to do magic, and by that I mean do crazy powerful things, that's not a thing. Like, witches don't exist, basically. Anyway, a thoroughly terrifying person. It's already gotten pretty ridiculous. Say whatever you want. I won't believe anything. Battler, come on. Just do what you like. How do you expect to, like, learn it? Moo. She like Mario? What's with this unpleasant attitude? In the beginning, I showed a little interest, thinking that there might be some huge hint hidden here. But the more I ask, the weirder this story starts to get. I get the feeling that even though this is supposed to be a game about denying witches, I'm suddenly being forced to just swallow this story about witches. Battler, there's a different way to look at it, my friend. Sorry, but I don't feel like listening to this anymore. Just keep rambling on to yourself as much as you want. Battler! I want to smack Battler upside the back of his head. Just like he's been doing to fucking Maria. See how he likes it. I'll be over here picking at my earwax or something. Cool. Oh! Oh! She's actually really hurt! She's totally hurt! Look at this! Look at her. No. The more the story goes on, the more I just want to, like... Y'all just want to hug Beatrice. Y'all just want to give her a big hug. Oh, my soft murder witch. Maybe if we give her a hug, she'll stop murdering us all the time and resurrecting us to murder us again. Huh. When I started acting cold, Beato seemed unusually discouraged. Beato? I show speed face. Of course, her expression was still shameless, but in that really easy to understand expression of hers, I had the feeling I was able to catch a glimpse of loneliness at my failure to find the story of her past interesting. For some reason, that subtle reaction made her seem pitiful. So even though I kept my careless attitude, I decided to cover for her slightly. Damn it. Even though she is an irritating witch, I'm still weak against her because her chromosomes are XX. I do have to say, Ryakishi, like when you write a character well enough, like Ryakishi's really good at writing realistically shitty and complicated people. And I totally buy that Battler is the kind of guy. And also we should recognize that Battler is a child, like basically. Like how old is he? He's like around 18. Bro can't even drink yet. So like he has a lot of learning to do. He has a lot of growing to do. So like I think that realistically it makes sense. Like, yes, he has aspects of him that suck. But I think it is also very realistic to have someone portrayed like this. Well, I've got absolutely no desire to believe you, but keep going. Let's have a bit of a story instead of a tea snack. So you treat the story of my past like little more than a snack? Do you expect me to just casually tell you when you insult me like that? Oh, she legitimately looks shocked. After I made fun of her, Beato reacted a little sensitively. You're making her sad. Aperture City. It looked like even though making fun of people was her specialty, she was horrible at being made fun of by others. Fucking... Right here, man. Same, absolutely same. Can totally dish it out. Can barely take it. Totally right there with you, my friend. Just then, my black teacup suddenly made a sound, surprising me. Can you two stop flirting? Milady's soul was seized and breathed into a cage of new life. In other words, Milady received life as a human once more. Before I realized it, the demon butler had taken my cup and was adding more black tea to it. Ronove, enough of that. This person just said it was too ridiculous to be worth listening to. Well, he's too ridiculous to be worth talking to. Aww, she's so mad. I'm baking some new cookies right now. Where, in your ass? What? Until they're ready, I thought you might find the story of Milady's past to be a perfect substitute for a snack. Okay, dog. Pukuku. How do you pronounce that? Pukuku. Pukuku. Didn't I say that's enough talking about me? Ronove. I do like the energy. I'm gonna admit, when Ronove came onto the scene, it was just like, oh my fucking god, another goddamn character. Jesus Christ. We already introduced all these little girls in like skimpy outfits, like, and now there's a fucking twink. But now, I'm actually like, you know what? He's kind of chill. He's kind of chill. I like his chaotic sort of energy. He's my gay dad, and I enjoy his presence. You call that a twink? When he showed up, and like apropos of nothing, it's just like, who the fuck? Who? But yeah, he seems to be just chill. He's like a chill demon who's just like, I don't give a shit. In fact, it's fun because he's like goading like Beatrice. He's just like kind of elbowing her, like, hey, what if I told him more about this stuff? And Beatrice is like, stop it. Anyway, Ronove is cool. I'm glad he's not wearing a schoolgirl. I mean, he could wear one. I wouldn't, with all the other schoolgirl outfits going on. I mean, at this point, it's only fair. Like, didn't I say that's enough talking about me? Such unpleasant people, the lot of you. I'm leaving. Ronove, serve our food and then go. She's so pissed. No pointless chit-chat with Battler. Aww. This is very cute. This is extremely cute. This makes me like Beatrice a lot more. They're getting like, kind of like, fine, I'm taking my toys and I'm going home. Fuck you, asshole. Certainly. I will make an effort. Beato's short temper, peculiar to women. Which I didn't really understand. God damn it. Fucking Battler goes to Ronove, is like, women, am I right? And then they dap each other up. And like the fucking smiling friends, like highly like rotoscope dap. Which I didn't really understand, took hold of her, and she turned her body into gold butterflies, scattered, and disappeared. Battler misogyny narration, exactly. After that, only Ronove and the scent of the black tea were left. This game makes me want to have some black tea. For the next book club, we should all have some black tea. What do y'all think? I feel kind of bad, like I pissed her off or something. Oh my god, dude. As long as you're aware of it yourself, I need say nothing more. Wait a sec. Weren't you the one who struck the finishing blow? My. What could you mean by that? How would you like some sugar and milk? He is a bro! Oh my god! Just milk will be fine. And some tea snacks would be nice too. Well, it will be a bit longer before the cookies are ready. Didn't you say we've already got something to use in place of a snack? Certainly. In any other situation, this would be flirting. If you will listen quietly, I will continue the story. She said something about a homunculus. I know a bit about that. It's that thing, right? A manufactured human created with alchemy or something? Yes. Milady's soul was shut up in a homunculus, and she was revived into this world, receiving life again as a baby. As a baby! However, because she was a baby, any professions of love on Kinzo's part would have been quite useless. Thank God. You aren't saying that grandfather shut that baby up in this hidden mansion until it grew to reach the same age she'd been? Oh! Damn, Maria, we're gonna have to kill Kinzo. Maria, what do you think about this? Sam. How does this make you feel, Maria? Yeah, I'm right there with you. Correct. That is what I am saying. So when I said thank God, that was more because I thought that Kinzo wasn't going to like fall in love with the baby, but then this added on to... However, while her soul was the same, a human spirit is strongly influenced by its container. Milady lost all her memories of the past and grew up as a very normal human girl. And you're saying that's the Beato sitting in the garden chair? Yes, that is correct. It grew to be completely identical. Completely identical, eh? However, it did not possess her power as a witch. Milady was completely human. She heard us. Beato, who was sitting in the garden chair looking up at the sky, voiced that same question again. She asked who she was. The meaning of those words was finally starting to click. Who she was? Did Kinzo call her Beatrice earlier? Or did she literally grow up without a fucking name? Like she... He called her Beatrice? Okay, all right. So she's like, okay. I was going to say how fucked that would be. The meaning of those words was finally starting to click. She couldn't understand why she was living here all locked up. Grandfather had seized Beatrice's soul, shut it up in a body of flesh, and then shut that up in a hidden mansion. However, since she had lived here since the time of her birth, she couldn't even understand who she was or why she lived shut up in here. Wait. Who would take such a stupid story? Who would take such a stupid story seriously? Why don't I change my interpretation? In other words, couldn't it be something like this? Grandfather met Beatrice. He then fell in love with her and courted her, but she didn't accept him. Then he flew into a rage and shut her up inside this mansion. Beatrice tried to escape, but no matter what she did, she couldn't succeed. So she finally chose her own death. And then, no. Maybe there was a girl who looked just like Beatrice. No, a baby. Grandfather raised this child with care. But maybe he didn't view this child as his daughter. The soul was once again shut up in a cage of flesh. Those words probably meant that he didn't view this kid as her child, but as her reincarnation. Maybe that's what it meant. If you interpret it that way, even a story this weird might make a little sense. No, no, no. This might be some bullshit Beto cooked up to confuse me. I mean, she's a good actor, if so. She did get pretty pissed off. As if I could accept any of this. In the first place, Kuadorian, was it? There's no proof whatsoever that a hidden mansion actually existed. I mean, that's one thing you could actually go out and look for, though. Couldn't this be something she just fabricated on the spot? A hidden mansion called Kuadorian does exist in the forest of Rokkenjima. Who gave Ronove the ability to do red text? Can anyone just do red text? What's stopping me from doing red text right now? What the hell? That is the place we were just talking about. Huh? Red? Is Japanese for red aka? Now hang on just a second. Ronove used the red to say that Kuadorian actually existed. Aka. Did that mean the same thing as the red Beto used? I may not look it, but I am a demon. Please keep this a secret from milady, yes? That you're a demon? Sure. Beto, who knew I would try to trip her up, had grown extremely cautious when using red. To think that Ronove could also use the red. However, it was the red of a crafty man. I didn't know how far I could accept it. But anyway, I might be able to get some kind of hint out of it. I mean, bro, he just confirmed that the fucking mansion exists. So that Beto relaxing in the garden of Kuadorian and that conversation she had with grandfather were the truth? Yes, it is the truth. In the past, the pair actually had a conversation like that in this place. Thanks a lot. I'll ask for some more red. You said she was born from a homunculus. But does that kind of unscientific magical thing actually exist? I mean, bro, you're asking him to confirm whether magic exists or not. I am unable to answer that question. After all, doing so would cause a stalemate. A stalemate? What does that mean? It's a chess term referring to a state in which, similar to a perpetual check, any further progress in a game becomes impossible. Bro, how far are we into the chess metaphor that we're just explaining what checkmate is after they talked about perpetual check? Who said in one of the chapters, someone said that, like, it might have been on Discord the other night, someone said that, like, this chapter, this episode really felt like, because these episodes were released piecemeal, this one feels like it was made because a bunch of people got really fucking confused in the last episode. And so it's like we're going so far into this, and then now we're like explaining certain things about it. Anyway, please remember that Battler is a very stupid, clever person. Will do. He did scrap another version of it entirely? Whoa. It's a chess term referring to a state in which, yeah, perpetual check, for further progress in the game becomes impossible. This would be the opposite of an endless repetition of moves, because all moves would disappear and it would bring about a kind of deadlock. In chess, this would lead to a draw, just a perpetual check would. However, there can be no draws in the game between you and Milady. Therefore, I am unable to answer a question that would bring about a stalemate. You obviously want to confuse me by saying incomprehensible stuff. I'm not stupid, you're just really confusing. The story of Battler. Oh, you're just trying to dodge the question because you can't use the red to say something magical like a homunculus exists, right? I mean, yeah, that is. If I were to say in red that a witch exists, what would you do, Battler-sama? Whether or not I believe it, believe that is what our whole fight's about, right? If I was told that point blank, it'd be game over. If I said a witch exists in red, you would have no room for argument. However, since the reason would never have been made clear to you, Battler-sama, you probably wouldn't accept it. However, after being told that in red, you would have no room for argument and would not have been shown any proof. In this situation, even though you wouldn't be able to admit defeat, you would have no way to make a counter-argument, and it would become a deadlock. Even though checkmate would not have been reached, there would be no existing moves left. I think Ronabe is like deploying language to kind of cover up from the fact that life coming from a homunculus, maybe possibly in the situation where a test tube baby or I forget what it's called. We used the term earlier, but that could be that some people would say is the miracle of life, you know, like magic of life manifesting. I mean, not a clone. I mean, it's kind of like they call them test tube babies, but really it's like there's in vitro fertilization, and then there's like whatever this is that I'm thinking. Anyway, there's a word for it. If anyone knows it, just say it and I'll react to it. Anyway, I will call it out. But it was said before. I forget what it's called. Probably surrogate would be, because you would do the in vitro would you would have to have a surrogate in that case. But didn't someone say that technology didn't exist until like 1978? And this game takes place in what? 1987? 1986, okay. Yeah, it's kind of... That would make... I mean, it might be possible that Kinzo had early access to the technology. Maybe. Anyway, since this would not be able, since you would not be able to play your next hand, it would never become Milady's turn, and the game would stop there for all eternity. As a result, Milady would be unable to force you to submit. That would be a deadlock situation. In order to avoid that, I am unable to answer questions of this nature in red. So to say it quickly, you're saying point-blank questions are prohibited? Well, that's true, I guess. If I were told a witch exists, I'd have to give up from the start. I am pleased that you understand. I believe we might be able to work together if you ask your questions in a different form. Can you help me with that line Beatrice dodged when I told her to repeat it? About the number of people on the island. If Milady held back on repeating it, then of course I cannot respond. But you see his face? The cogs are turning. As Milady's furniture, I am unable to move too forward. I am unable to be too forward. Ronave made an exaggerated gesture, trying to act like a loyal retainer. This guy's so shameless. Just when I thought you might actually be useful. I'll give up on that and search for a different question. That's right. I was forgetting to check something important. This is a story about Beato's memories, right? When did it happen? It couldn't be happening right now, right? Correct? This is the world of 1967. That's useful as hell. The world of 19 years previous. Okay. Let's try rearranging this story again. I wonder if it couldn't be something like this. Grandfather fell in unrequited love with a person called Beatrice. Then he confined her in this hidden mansion and continued to court her. But she was stubborn and didn't give in. Eventually, she grew pessimistic about being able to escape from here, and probably committed suicide. And then her soul was put in a homunculus, and... No, if I accept that, it's the same thing as accepting the witch. I can interpret that part like this. She probably had a posthumous daughter. Grandfather would have believed that her soul had been replaced in a new physical body, and might have thought that the child was the reincarnation of Beatrice. That means at least 19 years ago, Beato existed on this island as the 19th person. Fucking Balor. I'm starting to get confused. Either way, we can't do more than speculate. That's Battler's new voice because he's an idiot. The only thing we can say for sure in red is that in 1967, in a hidden mansion on Rokkenjima, Beatrice existed as a human. That's all. That is correct. In 1967, in a hidden mansion on Rokkenjima, Beatrice Sama existed as a human. Thank you. That really helps. So to me, that would mean Beatrice really is the 19th person. She would be 19 now. Oh wait, no, this conversation happened 19 years ago. That doesn't necessarily mean that she was just born just then. The conversation happened. She must have been older. I need to make a timeline. Because like, okay, so 1967, that's when the conversation between Kinzo and Beatrice happens. The Beatrice that was reincarnated who's asking who she is. So the quote-unquote daughter in this situation. So that would mean that whatever age she was then, so she's like maybe just under, she's like 30-ish? Just under 40? How old are Rudolph and the gang? Kraus and Ava and Rosa. Aren't they like in their 30s? Ava's 50? God damn. She aged like fine wine. God damn. Oh, thank you. That really helps. Congratulations. With this, you have made clear the existence of the piece known as the 19th person. A 19th human for you to blame, just as you longed for. A sacrificial sheep upon which you can shift the blame of any crime. But then we run into the situation that I don't think it's all fucking Beatrice, man. I don't think it's all Beatrice. I seriously think Battler, you are a dummy if you think that no one in your family is possible of doing like awful shit. But I think I said this before. I think there's a reason for that. I think the reason that Battler can't believe that his family are capable of committing these types of crimes, of committing murder, is because that could also mean that potentially his mom was murdered. I think that subconsciously he's really kind of girding against that. That and potentially his grandparents who like mysteriously died, which caused him to like show up. Anyway. That makes me sad for the boy. How amusing that it happens to be Milady. Ronave laughed indiscreetly. Somehow I didn't like how he put that, so I didn't feel like laughing along with him. I'll have Nero battling against his own naivete. Yeah, that's the other form of that Battler has inside of himself that has yet to manifest. When it pops up, it's like Battler's naivete is like the name up there. That's right. That's that thing Aunt Rosa said. There's that thing. Beatrice is dead? I killed her? What did that mean? As for that, it may be faster to see the actual circumstances rather than listen to me tell you. Let us advance the clock a little more. Renove pulled a stylish pocket watch from his pocket and touched the watch stem. As soon as he did, I saw gold butterflies gather behind his back and take the form of a person. Was it Beato? I quickly realized that it was someone else. Was it Rosa? Oh, it was her. That oldest sister of the 7 stakes who loved tormenting me more than her 3 meals a day. If I don't consider myself lucky to see that sex... Battler, I'm begging you. Fucking Christ. Battler is like in fucking purgatory and he's like still horny. Like, what the fuck? If I don't consider myself lucky to see that sexy ass, I won't be able to keep up with their torture game. Ronove-sama? So you're still here. This is an urgent call from Beatrice-sama. My. What kind of urgent business could it be? It seems my chat with Battler-sama has run a tad long. Well then, Battler-sama, if you will excuse me, please continue to enjoy your game with Milady. Yeah. I'll enjoy it as best as I can. Because my conversations go a lot more smoothly when they're with you, as opposed to her. And you're more gracious with the red, too. Come and talk again anytime you like. Battler-sama? Despite how I look, I am Milady's furniture. I can do nothing that Milady does not desire. What I said in red was something that normally should have come from Milady's mouth. I did nothing more than announce the red truth in Milady's place as she sulked. So she really was sulking then. Yeah, no fucking doy. You legitimately, you're both fuckers. You both made her feel like shit. You're just laughing about it. It was so fucked. Seeing me and Renove incomprehensibly hitting it off, that steak Nei-chan cocked her head curiously. Renove-sama. We are keeping Beatrice-sama waiting. Let us hurry. Yes, I shall go immediately. Well, Battler-sama, I will see you later. It appears that we have finally started getting along. As I thought, I have the feeling we'll manage to become good friends. Sure, if you mean partners are gossiping behind Beato's back. Renove-sama! Yes. If you will excuse me. Maybe she didn't like seeing him act so friendly with me, or maybe she really had been told to hurry.
A pleasant possum.
A pleasant possum. Thank you so much for the raid. Hi, everybody. We are playing Umineko. We are deep in it. If you would like to not be deep in it with us. Oh, you're back from... Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. All right. I was going to say, like, be careful, but y'all already know. All right. Yeah, apparently this is a good long one, so here we go. When the steak Nei-chan let out a thunderous cry, Renove laughed frivolously and disappeared, as if running away. Why am I, the oldest sister of the 7 stakes of purgatory, being summoned for menial tasks like this? Even though Beato-sama could have told one of the younger sisters, who look like they've got nothing better to do. Why so grumpy, Nei-chan? If you're hungry, eat a cookie or something. Why don't I give you the last one? How thoughtful. Then, shall I take one? I casually pushed the snack plate with the last remaining cookie over to her. Thank you. As though coming Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. As though coming as a period at the end of the sentence, a sharp sound pierced the table. You never know. It's Battler, y'all. We just got past peak Battler horny, so like I have no idea what's going on in his brain. The nails of 3 of her fingers extended, grew sharp, and pierced the space between my fingers on the hand that was pushing the plate, missing them by a hair's breadth. It had happened in an instant, so for a while I didn't even realize that her fingernails had grown. The tips of those sharp nails were like blades with a red manicure. The spaces between the bases of my fingers hurt sharply. Those razor-like blades had been plunged into the table a hair's breadth away from the back of my hand and my fingers. Because of those 3 blades, I was unable to even let my careless right hand tremble, and by now, all I could do was let a bead of cold sweat drip down. Whoa. Nei-chan, isn't it about time you cut your nails? It's Lucifer. That is my glorious name. The honored furniture who serves Beatrice-sama and the oldest sister of the 7 stakes of purgatory. Yeah, this is... I'm curious if... These girls mean something, right? Like, they represent something. The way that they were talking during that dinner, or the... Was it dinner? I think it was dinner. The way that they were talking about the different characters made me think that, like, these are just manifestations of human emotions. Or maybe not emotions. Maybe emotions is the wrong way to say that, but you know what I mean. Like I guess in the olden days they would call them like humors or something. It's just what would that mean? Oh, what would that mean for how you view whatever? Let's keep going. The honored furniture who serves Beatrice-sama and the oldest sister of the 7 stakes of purgatory. Yo, isn't there should be a burger joint named Burgatory. I'm not like my disgraceful younger sisters. And you can make it all about like hot sauces and stuff. There is? Oh shit. Someone stole my idea right out of my head. If you don't show proper respect, you will regret it. And why would I regret it exactly? Can't really think of a reason. Stupid kid. Do you really want to play with me that much? Was it that unforgettable? I'll thrust my stake deep into you and let you enjoy being gouged to the fullest. Okay? Damn it. Someday I'll have you down on the floor and say the same thing. Why is this man so horny? Oh god, the strap. Oh, really? Wow, I can't wait. Are they flirting? Wait, before we go any further, how old are you? Oh, and he's dead. At least horny anime protagonist. All right, here we go. Rosa eventually regained her calm. The men wanted to hurry her into talking faster, but Kyrie intervened because she's the goat. If something like that really had happened, then it would have been a terrible experience that Rosa wouldn't want to remember. After taking several deep breaths, with her hand over her chest, it seemed that she had more or less resolved herself to talk. How old was I then, I wonder? Middle school, probably. Though I don't remember well. Anyway, I think I was about that age. Which means maybe about 20 years ago? Back then, my grades weren't very good. And Mother was always angry at me. I tried to do my best in my own way, but I couldn't match up to Mother's expectations at all. Mother was always very strict with Rosa. I sympathized with her at that time. Ava, please. You say that even though you were always talking behind her back. Oh, okay. Yeah, yes. Would you give it a rest, Ava? And then? Where did you meet Beatrice, Rosa-san? Hideyoshi-san, you mustn't rush her now. It's okay, Rosa-san. Tell us at your own pace. Thank you. It was a day I'd been harshly scolded by Mother. Even though my tutor had promised to keep it a secret. Apparently, they told Mother all about how I had complained. Mother scolded me brutally, saying my name was a disgrace to the Yoshiromiya family. Of course, I was doing the best that I could, but I had none of Kraus Nissan's dignity. I couldn't get excellent grades like Ava Nissan. And I had no leadership abilities like Rudolf Nissan. I never stood out, didn't particularly excel at anything, and I found myself asking why I'd been born into the Yoshiromiya family. I began to question more and more why I'd even been born at all. This is what happened on the day I experienced my mind going blank for the first time. For the first time in my life, I realized that in addition to facing or surrendering to my problems, I had the third choice of running away. Fight, flight. Yeah, fight, flight, freeze. Though I say run away, there was no way I could have left Rokkenjima and gone somewhere else. But anyway, I wanted to run away from the mansion and my own self at that time. In a way, it was like a kid running away from home, or maybe a passive sort of suicide. I wanted to disappear. Or maybe it was like that childlike form of resistance where I tried to make my parents worry by disappearing. Yeah, fawn, yeah. I childishly thought that if I went into the center of the forest, escaped from the Yoshiromiya house, and maybe became lost, then I'd make them worry and teach them a lesson. And then you went into the forest that you were told never to enter? Yes. After reaching the beach, I followed alongside the ocean. I didn't have any particular reason, but I felt that if I went around to the opposite side of the island, there might be a place that no one knew about, which might become a hidden house just for me. If you go around by the beach, that'd be impossible. I mean, Rudolph, she was a child. Can we chill? It becomes a cliff partway, right? You know, this makes a lot of sense with the ending of Ep 2, because at the ending of Ep 2, Rosa was like running through the forest, and she specifically mentioned that she was taking like a path that she had used when she was a kid, I think. Is that correct? So like it was kind of hinting that she had experience like playing in the forest or like around, not in the designated places where the kids should be playing, like around the house and stuff. There's no way you could pass that way. Of course. So I kept going wherever I could, which kept taking me deeper and deeper inland. It's a horrible forest without any paths, but that was comforting to me then. If I could make it through such a dangerous forest, then I'd be that much further away from the Yoshiromiya family. How shameful. If you were scolded because of your grades, all you had to do was work harder. Okay, Ava. You mustn't say that. Doesn't Rosa have her talent as a designer instead? Literally speaking, he was covering for Rosa, but everyone knew that Rosa's company hadn't been profitable. Quit it. This is no time for sarcasm. So you managed to end up there by coincidence. At Beatrice's hidden mansion. Rosa nodded weakly. About how far did you walk? Could you show it to us on a map? Natsuhi-san, do you have a map of this island? No, there isn't one here now. We have to wait a little while for Google Maps to be a thing. It wouldn't help. I was just walking randomly. Even if you gave me a map, I wouldn't know. And 20 years have passed since then. I probably couldn't reach it again, even if I went into the forest. Several people let out dejected sighs. It was vividly clear that in their haste, they'd thought some hint related to the witch's epitaph. Or maybe even the gold itself might be resting there. On Rokkenjima, only the land around the mansion is ready to be developed on. The rest is completely uncultivated, and it'd probably take a lot of work to survey the entire island. But just knowing that it actually exists is helpful. It would take some money, but if we enlisted a aerial photography company to investigate, or asked the businessman who constructed this mansion about what happened at the time, we could probably find some way to search for it. That's right. At least we have more options now, as opposed to when we weren't sure it existed. Indeed. It may be worth investigating right away. Kraus, you just want to see how much fucking money there is. The siblings will do that investigation together. We won't leave you on your own, Nissan. It wasn't yet certain that the gold was hidden in that secret mansion, but the sparks seem to have started flying between Kraus and Ava already. Give it a rest for now, you two. Rosa, please continue. Yes. New music. Blindly, randomly, I kept running, on and on. Suddenly, I came across something I thought was an animal trail. I was very tired and had no idea how far I'd walked. So at the time, I naturally took the easiest path. As I did, suddenly, right before my eyes, a very, very tall fence appeared. It was a fence wonderfully adorned in a Gothic style. For an instant, I thought I'd gotten turned around and returned to the original mansion. Of course, there were fences around the mansion to stop us from entering the forest. But this fence was decorated differently, and moreover, it was very tall. It probably reached a full 2 stories up. It was covered with ivy and created a mysterious, solemn atmosphere. At the time, I believed in the legend of the Witch of the Forest, Beatrice. I had been told that she was frightening, but some of the servants told me that she'd sometimes help you if you respected her. Since I had little confidence in those days, I believed the only way I could be saved was by receiving her help. That's why I thought what I did. I believed that this was the fence of the mansion belonging to Beatrice, the Witch of the Forest. I thought that if I could meet with Beatrice, she'd definitely save me. So I decided to try going in. But the fence was very, very tall, and it didn't look like I'd be able to go over it. So I chose to walk around it. I thought that if I did, I'd eventually reach a gate. But it wasn't that easy. The fence had an incredible length to match its incredible height, and no matter how far I went, I didn't reach a corner. It might have encircled a massive area, or maybe I just had that impression because my child's legs made it difficult to walk in the forest. Anyway, I couldn't find a gate for a while, and I started to feel sad, as though the witch had rejected me. As I did, I eventually came upon a large tree whose twisted root had bent the fence. It might get my clothes dirty, but if I crawled, it looked like I might be able to sneak in. And there you found the hidden mansion? I don't know if it was the hidden mansion we've been talking about. Still, at the very least, it wasn't a place that we know of. Okay, I'm just going to say this because I'm feeling it right now. I love this game. Like, this is really good. I'm so invested. This is crazy how much I want to get to the bottom of everything going on. Like, all these characters are awesome. This whole mystery is like fucking cool. Yeah, I really like this. Blue text Umineko is really good. Anyway, hello from the gym. iCat getting them gains. Congrats, dude. I need to go. Rachel and I are thinking about going to the gym as well. It's been so long. I need to get. Man, exercise-induced asthma is fucked, but I can still do like, you know, limited stuff. And I was thinking about getting back into curling and lifting. Well, not curling, doing curls. Like curling is the thing with the ice and anyway. I love the house in Fata Morgana more personally, but this is one of the best. Yeah. I've actually got. I think did I buy that? Hold on, let me see. Oh no, it's on my wish list. I will buy that eventually. I have heard that one's really, really good. Gale has lots of issues with Fata Morgana. Oh no. Oh well. The most Canadian. It's true. I'll get in trouble for like cheating somehow. What was the cheating scandal where the guy like touched it? It wasn't as though I came out into a garden as soon as I passed the fence. I had to continue through a lot more uncultivated forest after that. Bro, Kinzo, what the fuck? As I did, the forest suddenly opened up. And what appeared there was an unbelievably fantastical scene. To think that on Rokenjima, where I thought only we lived, there could be such a wonderful mansion hidden away. A beautiful flower garden spanned the front of the mansion. It was a flower garden of a completely different design from the rose garden we know so well, and it was very lovely. Of course, the mansion was also wonderful. It was a couple sizes smaller than ours, but it was still elegant and adorable at the same time. Then, I saw her figure. I saw her sitting in a garden chair positioned to give a view of the flower garden, wearing an elegant dress. It was that black dress embroidered in gold that we would later know from the portrait. I hadn't seen an elegant dress like that except in fairy tales and on the stage of musicals. The stage of music? Stage? Some kind of stage play, you say? For a person to be wearing it as her normal clothes, that in itself seemed quite fantastical. That mysterious scene was enough to make me lose my sense of reality. If someone had told me that it was a dream, I might have nodded obediently and waited to wake up in my bed. I had forgotten to hide myself in my shock, so she eventually spotted me. At first, her expression was quite listless, but when she noticed me, her eyes opened very wide. It was only natural, considering that a guest she didn't know had suddenly appeared. I lowered my head automatically, planning to greet her and apologize for entering without permission. Did she, like, hug you or something? Who are you? The new gardener? Those were the first words she had said to me. I grew slightly calmer, because I realized that we could talk to each other, because I hadn't been turned into a frog just by meeting her eyes like a terrifying witch in a fairy tale. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have entered the garden without permission. Who are you? Name yourself. I am Ushiromiya Rosa. Ushiromiya. Oh. One of Kinzo's family. Huh? Yes. I'm Kinzo's daughter. Konnichiwa. Good afternoon. I was a little surprised. After all, father was a great man, feared by everyone. And yet, she had spoken of him without using honorifics. So I was immediately terrified of her. After all, if she could refer to my fearsome father that way, she must be a witch with incredible power. It's kind of like when you're a kid and someone calls like your dad, like, oh, it's Carl. Oh yeah, you must be Carl's son. It's like, oh shit. He knows dad's name. Fuck. After staring at me curiously, she beckoned me to come over. Frightened as I was, I obeyed. After all, I thought she might really turn me into a frog. My dad doesn't have a name. My dad doesn't have a Sama. The closer I got, the stronger that fear became. After all, as I keep saying over and over, that woman in her dress in the flower garden in the mansion, that whole picture was so fantastical and beautiful that it seemed separate from reality. It probably wouldn't have surprised me at all to learn that she really was a witch. And I really was lucky. She hadn't turned me into a frog. As I awkwardly stood there, stock still, she motioned to an open chair and urged me to sit down. CG. Have a seat. Welcoming and speaking to those who visit this garden for the first time is my sole pleasure. Of course, I have no pleasures other than that. As she said this, she let an unhappy smile show for just an instant. Because I was full of a strange mix of tension and excitement, I rudely asked her a question all of a sudden. Are you the Witch of the Forest? Beatrice? Indeed. I am Beatrice. As I thought, Beatrice actually existed. Did she really look like the portrait? Yes. Really, just like the portrait. So, she wasn't just a witch from father's imagination. Hideyoshi. Well, what did you talk with her about? As she prepared some tea, she asked me all kinds of things about myself. First, she was surprised that I had come through the forest. It seems she believed that many dangerous wolves lived outside the fence. See, now it's really hitting that, like, the story of the Witch of the Forest was just a way to get the kids to not fuck around in the forest. That story was being used to keep the kids in line, basically. Kind of crazy that the wolves line worked. Is Ava's bracelet the same color as Beatrice's bow? I don't know. I gotta look at that. First, she was surprised that I had come through the forest. It seemed that wolves. So when I told her I'd come through the forest to reach such a place, she was shocked. She asked how I managed to escape from the wolves. Did I give them a biscuit and they let me go? Or did I cover myself in a magic cloak? That kind of thing. That sure sounds like a witch. What an interesting person. Quiet, dear. I like how Hideyoshi is just like, man, she sounds cool. I want to meet her. This goes way back. But didn't father threaten us, saying we should never get near the forest because of the wolves that lived there? Yes, he did say something of the sort. Oh, I guess in combination with the wolves. Ridiculous. Even though Japanese wolves went extinct long ago. Truly a trick to fool children. Weren't there wolves in one of the endings? Was it the ending to episode 2? Didn't they get chased by not just goatmen, but weren't there wolves too? That's an interesting wrinkle. Wolves aren't scary, it's true. I forget. If I heard about a witch, I would want to meet her? Yeah. They were chased by furries. Yeah. No. Rosa used wolves and sheep as an analogy. Yeah. Yeah, I remember. They were chased by goats. Yeah, I just thought that there were wolves among them for some reason. I remember them getting like accosted by wolves of some kind. Not the goat men, because I remember the goat men very vividly, but the other ones. Anyway, I don't remember though. Did Dad really tell us something like that? It was the Witch of the Forest, right? I don't think I've ever heard about wolves. This was when you were still in elementary school. Don't you remember? Back then, you actually said you thought it'd be cool to try petting the wolves. Father immediately gave up the wolf story and changed it to the story about the witch, using it as a way to keep the kids out of the fucking forest. Seriously, what transparent lies they were. They're laughing. Yay. At the time, the witch story had a much more immediate effect on you, Rudolph, than the wolves. I remember it well. Don't you remember those nights when you clung to my back? I see. So even Rudolph's-san used to be that cute. Shut up! I was just a kid. I'm not cute. No, I'm not cute. Well, at any rate, if Father's the one who shut Beatrice up in there, it makes sense that he'd use the same story about the wolves. To him, the vast forest of Rokkenjima was a wall that shouldn't be crossed, dividing his two incompatible worlds, the Ushiromiya family and his mistress's mansion. Considering the height of that fence, it does sound like as though Father turned that whole area, garden and all, into a giant jail cell. Just like a border dividing his two separate worlds. Wolves aside. Wolves aside, could there have been some breed of stray dogs there at the time? Perhaps the fence was there to protect against those. There aren't any wolves or stray dogs on Rokkenjima. That fence was probably a border between us and Beatrice. I like how Natsuhi is just like assuming the best with Kinzo. Like just playing, just like, no, he's not all bad. Why are we disrespecting Father? Like, oh man. Oh man. That fence was probably a border between us and Beatrice. But if she innocently believed that story about the wolves, that's pretty naive. That's nothing like what I'd expect a witch to do. Well, yeah, because she was... Yeah. You're right. I sense that too. She was very pompous, just like my image of a witch. But she was somehow very childish. She was, how should I put it, too straightforward. If there aren't any dogs, do you think there are no cats either? Is this from the previous chapter with like the proofs and shit? If there are no dogs but cats exist, does that mean cats exist where there are no dogs or some fucking dumb bullshit? If all dogs are black, then that means cats are every color except black. I don't know what the fuck. Not a Hempel's Raven deal, just a general question. I don't know, and I don't know why you're asking that question. Because they're on a small island and separated from the mainland. Say it in red. You want to drag out some blue text from me? I see how it is. Dude, I have to do a class entirely on proofs. No, my sympathies. Proofs are silly. I can confirm. I'm not entirely sure why you're asking that, Jan, but let's just say for there haven't been any cats in the game. So I mean there's no evidence of them. That doesn't mean that they don't exist. From what they said, it seemed like that a black cat had sneaked in from somewhere, climbed up on the vase, and toppled it over. Earlier in the episode, cats aren't real. I mean, that's not necessarily the case. You can, like, they could have had a cat. I mean, if anything, I would imagine that they would have had a actual cat, like a domesticated cat rather than like wild cats. And in that case, like, yeah, I can easily imagine Kinzo like giving them, giving maybe Beatrice or someone a cat to take care of in the mansion, maybe. Cats are a state of mind. I like how we've brought the stream to a like sudden halt. With, I mean, it's a very cat-like thing to do, so that does make sense. She gave me the impression that she didn't know anything about the world. It was as though she'd come from a fairy tale land. She really was a strange person. What happened after that? Did you end up talking about Dad at all? Okay, I'm going to predict something. This isn't blue text. I'm just going to try and predict something. Does Rosa show Beatrice how she got in? And so Beatrice tries to use the same way to get out, following Rosa, but then falls and like dies? Did you end up talking about Dad at all? Yes. Once every few days, usually on an arranged day, but sometimes suddenly, Father would casually appear and they'd drink together or else take a walk together or something. She said she just happened to be alone on the day I visited. I see. An obvious mistress, you might say. Yare. I don't know how much younger she was, but good for Father. This guy stinks! We can be sure this was no indecent relationship. Idiot. There's no way a lover's meeting between a man and a woman wouldn't have some sensuality. What happened next? Die then. Yeah, Beatrice's ghost is like floating behind them. It's like, come on, that's not. Oh my god. I'm basically his daughter. You guys are fucked. Anyway, what happened next? Did you talk about? What did you talk about after that? I had already introduced myself, so I asked about her. When I did, the atmosphere quickly grew depressing. How should I put it? She seemed to grow listless and lonely. It was that same expression I saw on her face in the beginning. Well, she was his hidden mistress after all. If she just walked around wherever she liked, Mom might have found her. I'll bet she was practically under house arrest. Even though she had beautiful clothes, a beautiful mansion, and a garden, she must have felt pretty cramped. I'll bet she had it rough. And then? She was definitely worried about something. I remember feeling really sad myself when I realized it wasn't something I could do anything about by talking to her. She seemed to forget I was even there. She gazed vaguely off into the distance and was silent for a long, long time. This really goes to show how limited the lower level characters are in their knowledge. Yeah. That's why I'm kind of hoping, like, for maybe the answer arcs, they all get, like, the ability to kind of, like, overview what the fuck is going on, like Battler is. And that way they can, like, kind of work together. But then again, that would mean that potentially some of the people who are committing the crimes would know shit. Maybe just the children, but then that would also create that situation if George is part of it. Although that would be a really cool twist. Anyway, she gazed off in the distance for I felt like what was a long, long time. I thought I must have said something wrong, but it didn't seem to be the type of atmosphere where I could apologize. So I remained silent for a long, long time until she remembered I was there. And then she muttered unexpectedly, "Are there really no wolves beyond the fence?" Huh? Yes, that's right. I've never seen any wolves, not even in a zoo. What is a zoo? It's a place where they keep all kinds of animals. They're full of rare animals like elephants and giraffes and pandas. I love her. She's so cool. She's oh, what? What the hell is that? There aren't any wolves in a zoo? Then, it might not be so scary. Even if there were wolves, all of the animals are put in cages, so it's safe. That's why you can safely look at them and learn about them. The mighty witch of the forest was apparently terrified of wolves. I remember it looked pretty funny to me at the time. How am I any different? Huh? She didn't know about zoos. I explained how fun zoos could be, but it was very difficult for a person like her who had never visited one to understand. On the contrary, as I explained it to her, her expression grew increasingly dismal. She couldn't see the difference. Apparently, even though she lived in an elegant mansion that was surrounded by a high fence and seemed to lack for nothing, she couldn't see how she was any different from the animals shut up in cages. See, this is fascinating because I can see this being a really interesting point of contention with what Battler is saying. Because what is that old saying of like, with sufficiently advanced technology is no different from magic? And it's like for her, it's learning about all of this crazy shit, learning about all these things where she had grown up with literally none of it, no explanations for anything. It's all just the mansion. It's here. Why is it here? I don't know. Magic, you know. And to deny that perspective is to deny magic is to deny her perspective, that sort of perspective of like naivete for like how the world works. And so in that way, magic does exist for her because she just doesn't know. And it's important to acknowledge that magic because to dismiss it would be to dismiss her entire worldview or perspective. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'm talking out of my ass. Who am I? Everyone calls me Beatrice. And that does indeed seem to be the name of a great witch, as you say. But that isn't me. I cannot use any magic. I simply have the soul of that witch sealed inside my body. There was definitely something odd about her. Beyond just being cut off from the world, it seems she truly believed that magic exists. I think she talked about lots of weird things, but I don't remember the details. Oh, that might be another way of interpreting it. For some people, that sort of magic is like belief in something is what keeps some people going. And to deny that would be to deny their reason for getting out of bed. Huh. Yeah, there are a few avenues of inspection on this. I think she talked about lots of weird things, but I don't remember the details. All I thought was that this might be a person to be pitied. She was unable to leave the mansion of her own free will, a prisoner without even realizing it. And she didn't know anything about the outside world, but didn't even understand who she was. She probably vaguely realized that she was to be pitied. But since she didn't know anything, she seemed incapable of recognizing her own unhappiness. Oh. Long ago, when I told Nasan that I felt sorry for a bird in a cage, she said this. A bird that only knows about the inside of the cage doesn't long for the outside. But this wasn't a bird. She really was a person. Even if she'd never been outside the cage, she understood that there was more to the world. So, I invited her. Do you want to try going outside the fence? Oh, fuck. There really aren't any wolves? There aren't. You'll definitely be safe. I want to leave. But the gate is always closed. There's this place I came in through. Oh, fuck. It's got a crack you can slip through. If we go through there, will there be a world outside? Yes. There really aren't any wolves. Right, there aren't any. But there aren't any wolves, though. Okay, it sounds good. But no wolves, right? I'm locking it down. There are no wolves, right? She is like painfully cute. I'd only planned on inviting her to go on a short walk, but she kept looking over her shoulder at the mansion as though she was seriously worrying over the decision. Then I learned what she was preparing herself for. I have had enough of this place. I want to go outside. And I want to know who I am, what's happening in this world, and why I was born. I didn't know what her life had been like before then. It was probably something she couldn't express easily. If it was harsh, she just had to say she wanted to escape. If it was sweet, she just had to say she'd stay. For example, maybe it was like how a hot fireplace on a winter day makes the air get thicker and thicker, giving you a headache. Even though you know you shouldn't keep things the way that they are, you still need courage to open the window and be tormented by the cold wind. She was starting to realize that she couldn't stay there forever. She was starting to realize that she had to go outside someday. But since she didn't know about the outside world, she must have needed courage to take that unspeakable first step outside. And despite that, she had made her decision. She voiced her decision to go outside, a decision she was probably making for the first time in her life. I hesitated for a moment. Father had decided that she should live here. She was like Father's beloved bird in a cage. If I just let her escape, Father might scold me harshly. Man, fuck that guy. I want to see. See what? I want to see a zoo. I need fan art of Beatrice at the zoo right goddamn now. I need it. Beatrice looking at like Rosa like at the exhibit for wolves, and Beatrice like cowering behind her like oh. I was just a little surprised. Oh, cuter faction. Oh my god, that would be fucking awesome. I was just a little surprised when she finally gave me a gentle smile. Could that have been a farsightedness brought about by her decision to venture out from her cage? It was a smile so gentle, I couldn't imagine that it had come from a once dark face. When I speak with you, I keep hearing about things I don't know. I don't even know about this thing called school, nor do I know about zoos. I don't know about movie theaters. I don't know about amusement parks. And I feel from the bottom of my heart that I want to know about those things. Will you take me to see them? Huh? Yes. I was nervous about how I could keep it a secret from Father. But her face looked so happy, so I went along with her and nodded. But she seemed not to notice the meaning behind my vague smile. She seemed to believe I'd really take her to all those places. She was pure and genuine. She'd probably never been tricked by anyone. No. Maybe it's better to say that she'd never learned how to doubt. Her smile was somehow radiant and yet pathetic. I wanted to find a way to grant her modest wish. Modest wish. I have had enough of Beatrice. I want to know who I am. I want to start out as a new human, not Beatrice. So I want you to take me away from here. I don't need tea anymore. I don't need this dress. I won't meet with Kinzo again. Please, take me from here. Rosa. However, that responsibility was one that a child like me couldn't hope to fully bear. Still, when I saw her serious gaze, along with that brilliant smile that made it look as though a possessing spirit had left her, I could feel a little courage start to rise up in me. I wonder if this is who Rosa sees in Maria. Maybe that's why she's like... Maybe that, like, really scares her or, like, makes her remember in a way that she doesn't like. That sort of, like, earnest naivete. This was definitely something that would get me into a lot of trouble, and yet it was definitely the right thing to do. I don't know how it'll turn out, but I'll take her away from here. Of course, I won't be able to talk to father, and not mother either. Should I talk to Oni-sama or One-sama? No, what about the reliable Genji-san? What? What? Oni and One are grandpa and grandma? Oni, One? No? Oh, it's like older brother, sister. Oh, okay, all right. I was like, who? What? My mind was racing trying to connect the dots. No. What about the reliable Genji-san? Or, that's right, what about Kumasawa-san, to whom I can always talk about when I'm in trouble? I'm sure they'll be able to do something. Anyway, for now, I'll take her out of here. This was already a place she didn't want to be. So I took her to the crack in the fence and led her outside. She was all nervous, checking to make sure there were no wolves around. But once that fear disappeared, even just walking around this dense forest seemed to be fun somehow. Every time she found something, she'd ask me about it. And they were all really trivial things. What's that flower? What's that leaf? And that sound? And that smell? It really was like the inside of that fence had been her entire world. I love that this is all happening while she's holding her fucking smoke stick. Think of Ochi or Oji Oba? Okay. It was really like it had been her entire world. So now that she'd traveled beyond the limits of her world, it's strange. When I first saw her, I really thought she was the witch herself relaxing inside the witch's mansion. But now it was different. Or actually the complete opposite. She'd left a world she'd believed to be finite, and was overjoyed at the realization that the world was endless, something she'd never thought of before. And the world was flat, so everything she saw was new. It was almost as though she was the one who had been thrown into a fairy tale. If she was Alice, then I felt almost like a rabbit holding a watch. To her, it was probably a really fun walk, filled to the brim with excitement, but I was actually at a loss at what to do. After all, I walked randomly to get there. Of course, I didn't know the way back to our mansion. There were no lights in the forest, and I hadn't brought a flashlight. I realized it would be terrible if it got dark while we were still like this, and grew impatient. She was too innocent, and apparently she couldn't understand at all how frightening it would be to face the night inside the forest. But I was the one who brought her outside. I had to take responsibility somehow and resolve this situation. So I had a thought. Let's go out to the ocean for now. If we then follow the beach around, we should eventually make it back to the mansion. Solid. However, that was much more of a problem than I'd imagined. I didn't have a map or a compass. There was no way I could walk in a straight line through an uncultivated forest, and I immediately lost my sense of direction. I already had no clue which trail I had come by and was completely lost. At this rate, night would definitely fall before I had a clue where to walk. But this was no time to cry. After all, that woman following behind me was so innocent and having so much fun. So I definitely had to lead the way through this forest, for the sake of her smile as well. Gritting my teeth so that she didn't see me looking troubled, I pushed my way through the woods, advancing down a path that wasn't a path. Then, after going through various troubles, I fortunately managed to reach the ocean. At that time, I still didn't even have a clue where I was on the island, but for the time being, I was just a little reassured, realizing that if I just went around this way, I would surely be able to return to the mansion. However, though I had reached the ocean, we were on the top of a rock cliff. The beach was far below us. I was tired from walking around the forest for so long, so I figured that an open area, even a rocky beach, would probably be much easier to walk in. So I suggested that we go down the rocky cliff somehow. It looked pretty dangerous, but I figured there was no other way. However, Beatrice agreed with my plan without any doubts. Even though she was probably older than me, she meekly obeyed, almost as though she were some kind of chick who thought I was her mother. I searched to see if there was some part of the cliff I'd be able to get down. Then I found a place where the cliff had fallen over and made a slope. It looked a little dangerous, but I went down using both hands and both legs, like I was crawling. I thought it'd probably be okay. Let's go down here. It'll be dangerous if we aren't careful. But if we go down to the beach and walk along it, I don't think we'll have to worry about being lost anymore. Indeed. If that's what you're doing, I'll go too. Even getting lost is fun for me. Quite amusing. She really had no sense of danger. There was probably no doubt that she'd lived a life without discomfort. Even though she knew it would get dark when night fell, she couldn't imagine how dangerous the inside of a forest could be without a light. Furthermore, it seemed that she couldn't grasp at all how dangerous it might be if she fell from the cliff. I warned her repeatedly to be careful. I cautiously examined our potential route down. It seemed to be quite a long drop. I think it might have been 10 meters down. If you looked at it from the bottom up, it would probably have looked shorter than the roof of the mansion. But looking from the top, it felt almost like staring down from the top of the observation room on Tokyo Tower. But Beatrice still appeared to be completely without fear. It felt as though she had never even been taught that high places were dangerous. No, maybe she believed that she was a witch, and that she could fly, so there wasn't any need to worry. Please be careful. We're pretty high up. Indeed. I shall be careful. It looks like we can get to the ocean if we go down. Is there an aquarium there? No, there aren't any aquariums on this island. But there should be lots of fish in the sea. I see. So there are fish. Are there whales and dolphins and penguins like you talked about? No, you'd have to go to an aquarium for those. And you'd have to leave the island to find an aquarium. I like how we're not talking about like animals in terms of like the other ways you can experience them. They're all related to being in a zoo where they are essentially very similar to how Rosa was being handled. It's almost like that's deliberate. She is extremely cute. Like, I literally can't handle this. Is that so? Well, I'm looking forward to it. What kind of fish are whales? They're really big fish. Huh, aren't they mammals? And they spit seawater into the air. Oh. And dolphins? They're really smart fish. And, oh, weren't they also mammals? They're really smart and can be taught tricks and stuff. Then what about penguins? Weren't they birds? What's going on? We're talking about aquariums, but none of these things seem to be fish. Well, there aren't just fish. It's full of all kinds of things that live in the ocean. I really am looking forward to that. She let out what might have been a funny, rushed and short cry. No, it was probably a scream. It came right out of the blue. Her body separated from the cliff and silently fell. I immediately wanted to say something to her. I wanted to say, "Didn't I tell you to be more careful?" It was the thought of a child. It was how a child immediately gets mad when something bad happens, trying to find an excuse to show it wasn't their fault. Of course, I said it out loud. "Are you okay? Didn't I warn you over and over?" Oh. So, she fell from the cliff. And then what? What happened to her? Rosa. Rosa fell silent. Her gaze dropped to her feet, as though she were seeing through the floor into some disgusting memory. She died, didn't she? Ava's brutal words were the ones Rosa had most wanted to avoid. And when she was hit with them, she screamed in resignation. Yes, she died. It was a rocky beach with lots of sharp, dangerous rocks exposed. Her eyes were still open and an incredible amount of blood kept pouring out, quickly spreading out until it looked like a red carpet. I spoke to her, shook her, but she refused to respond, not even a blink. No, she wouldn't even close her eyelids. It was my fault. She was wearing a dress, remember? Even though I knew her outfit was difficult to move in, I said we should go down the cliff. She was incredibly innocent, so she obeyed what I said without any doubts. How long do you plan on remaining dead? Open your eyes already. Darn you, turning into a lump of meat all by yourself while I'm gone. Battler. No idea for seriousness. No idea, understanding of serious situations. Just, really? Now? Average City, yeah, maybe. I was just flirting with your ass Nachan friends. More importantly, what the heck's going on here? Well, as you can see, I missed my footing, fell down, and died. What the hell? Even though you showed up as the 19th person, you were already dead? Don't mess with me. That's impossible. Aunt Rosa was a kid and she panicked. She was panicked. And it's not like a doctor was there. She probably just mistakenly thought you were dead. And you were probably, alive and pretending to be dead or something. Isn't that right? You wanted to traumatize that poor child. It can't be true. She's got to be alive. Otherwise, how can she be here? The kid-aged Aunt Rosa shook Beatrice's body, crying. I stared into that face too. But her eyes were still open, and it really was a corpse. I wanted to dodge the issue by saying something vague like, she must be playing dead. But no matter how I looked at it, it didn't look fake at all. It really did look like she was dead. Beatrice had fallen upside down from a cliff at that height, and her head had smashed against the pointed tip of those sharp rocks. Yeah, you probably would die after landing on those rocks from that height. But I couldn't accept it. No matter how dead she looked, she had to be alive. Then she went on to become this damn irritating witch that makes all of the inconsistencies fit. Grandfather must have kept her confined constantly in a hidden mansion. Then, to take revenge for that, she committed several atrocious murders. Aunt Rosa probably just mistakenly thought she was dead. But she was actually alive, and as soon as Aunt Rosa left, would miraculously breathe again. Then, she somehow lived on until today, and opened the curtain on her revenge drama. Otherwise, the facts don't fit together. I won't let you trick me so easily. Can you repeat it in red? That she's certainly dead? She has to be alive, right? It's obvious. How does that look alive to you? It's definitely dead. It. I guess the corpse is definitely dead, but yeah. It. Yeah, she did say that. I mean, she's saying it's a homunculus, so interesting. Interesting way of getting around saying her name, though. Tricky. My theory that the 19th person was grandfather's mistress, a human Beatrice, had been defeated. I had planned to strike back from a defensive position, but... Then, who are you? You just died, right? Don't tell me you revived yourself with magic. I've already explained that, have I not? The me lying over there definitely possesses my soul, but that body's nothing more than a cage of flesh tying me to the physical world. This is how that cage of flesh was broken. Do you understand what that means? I don't have a clue anymore. Oh man, I'm really stupid. Keep having fun with your witch girl tricks. Again, I'm always saying this. I'll listen to that in place of a snack. What the? It's empty. Hey, could I get some more black tea? Run away. Our guest would like some tea. When Beato clapped her hands, Runaway appeared. Butlers sure are convenient. A refill, you say? Certainly. How much shall I pour you? Well, I've got more than enough snacks. Half will be fine. Even so, filling it to the brim is the English custom. Even though just enough to wet my throat would have been fine, he filled it to the top. I turned my back to Beato, sipping it in silence. Hey, open your eyes. Beatrice. Rosa shook me. No, shook the corpse that had once been me. I watched over her from a short distance away. So I fell from there and died. For a while, I believed that was true. I saw Rosa spend a long time beside my corpse, then watched her as she ran away. Eventually, I realized that I was a different individual from that corpse. That's right. I am me. So I finally managed to escape from Kinzo's bonds. Eventually, I felt the memory returning. The fact that I was an endless witch who had lived for 1,000 years. Then I remembered that I'd been summoned by Kinzo and that I'd been imprisoned by him for a long time. While being imprisoned in a cage of flesh, I completely lost my memory as a witch. However, thanks to Rosa, if you could say that, thanks to my accidental death, I'd now finally regained myself. Rosa, you probably regret bringing about my death, but I should be thanking you. I couldn't see Rosa anymore. Did she go to call a doctor, or was she so terrified that she ran away? It no longer matters. That soulless shell no longer has any value. I just want to say, real quick, is it possible? Is it at all possible that this is Rosa's trauma response? That this is Rosa talking about what she was talking about earlier? The way that she was talking about how she would like sort of retreat within herself and run away? Was that her running away? And now this is like sort of Rosa manifesting Beatrice within herself? When they were talking about like, when Maria was talking about, oh, mom, you've got like, you know, there's a bad witch in you. You know, it's the bad witch. Is that more of a literal thing? Well, not literal, but like, I really hope this doesn't turn into like a split personality thing. But like, I can see that as a thing that is being deployed here. And yeah, it's not split. What is it called? It's dissociative identity. But like, even then it's more just like possibly something that Rosa is doing as like a coping mechanism, basically. Either that, or there's also a possibility, if we're looking at this without the magical stuff, that this is possibly, maybe Beatrice's sister? Twin? That might be too much. Yeah, something died. Beatrice said it was definitely dead. So, but that's what I'm saying is like, Beatrice can still die, but Rosa can be reacting to Beatrice's death by retreating within herself, and basically like, this is when she sort of it could be Maria's view of it. There are a bunch of different ways to interpret this. And I think that there are two very interesting avenues of inspection. One, that this is all Maria, that this version of Beatrice is just Maria's, or not Maria, Rosa's like sort of way of coping with the death of Beatrice. Or the person who says that they're Beatrice. Or is it possible that there was another person at the mansion who was secretly following them? I don't know. It no longer matters. That soulless shell no longer has any value. And yet, I'm so frail now. Even this glorious midday sun is agony to me. See, what is that? Ghosts don't feel the sun? This is ridiculous. Also, was I saying Maria that whole time instead of Rosa? Even this glorious midday sun is agony to me. Bro. I destroyed my human form. She's a vampire. Then I changed it into several gold butterflies. Yes, with my magical power as frail as it is now, this form is easier to maintain. To escape even a little from the light of the sun, I rode the wind and gently flew up to the side of the cliff. It will probably be a bit cooler in the forest. Anyway, I'll take some time to recuperate and regain my former power. As I ponder how to make Kinzo pay up all he owes me. Dancing alone through the air, I looked down at the shore one more time. On the rocky shore lay the figure of what once had been me, the figure I would eventually regain. To regain the form of that physical body I had thrown away, it would probably take more than 100, 200 days. And it might require 1,000 days or perhaps even more. However, I am the endless witch, the golden witch who has lived for 1,000 years. Waiting any countable number of days would be no problem. Cackle, cackle. Oh, Kinzo. Regret that you are not here now. No longer will you be able to capture me. Cackle, cackle. Ahahaha. WAV. And then you changed into gold butterflies, hid in the forest, and waited for your magical power to be restored? Is that what you're saying? That is correct. I take this form to sneer at you, but most of the time it is easier magically for me to keep my form as gold butterflies. Hey, feel free to take a load off and stick to whatever's easiest. I wouldn't mind not having to hear your irritating laugh, bro. When I turned into butterflies and slipped into the forest, it was already no longer possible for Kinzo to find me. However, Kinzo was not dismayed. Still, he was not immediately able to prepare a way to catch me. So he first moved to prevent me from leaving this island and to keep me from regaining my power. My. At any rate, Kinzo's spitefulness was unimaginable. It was pretty tough to be loved by someone like that. He found a way to keep you from leaving after you turned into butterflies? What, did he put a bug net around the entire forest? Indeed. A magical one. Didn't you know? On the sea in front of the harbor is a reef, upon which sits a small shrine of Eastern magic. Ah, that. It was gone by this year, though. It was a small shrine built long ago by a Shugenja, right? From the very beginning, Rokkenjima has been an island enveloped by a distortion. It attracts things of magical power and other related creatures. That's interesting. Distortion. Milady herself is one of them. How about some more tea? Please. They brought harm to humans and probably left several eerie legends in their wake. That small shrine was built in ancient times by an Eastern magician who heard of them. A long time passed, and that power was lost. By repairing it, Kinzo restored this island's barrier, and once again bound me to the island. Can Eastern magic work on a Western witch like you? Normally, the affinity would be poor. However, for the purpose of sealing me here, it may have been quite convenient in a way. If it was Western magic, I would have had some knowledge. For any barrier, there would have been some measures I could have taken. But Eastern magic is outside my area of expertise. It was as if I had given chopsticks instead of a spoon for some soup that I wanted to drink. In a space dominated by Eastern magic, Western magic loses much of its power. Even if she were given 1,000 days to regain her strength, she would have to wait many, many more. So you're saying it took you 20 years to regain your power, and now you've revived, as we can all see? Sounds like Kinzo just tried again. Sounds like Kinzo made a new Beatrice. But this time, maybe let her go outside so that she wouldn't be tempted? Oof. Man. Mulligan. Those were horribly long years. I spent many days in the form of gold butterflies, found Kinzo's mansion, and watched over him every day. I lived through those days with no means to enjoy myself except to ponder how I could get back at him. That period of 20 years was fortunate for me. Kinzo tried to use all sorts of magic to find and capture me, but each failed. There's a limit to how many miracles a single human can bring about. Even simply holding me captive for that long had been a miracle far above his place. It would be unthinkable for me to be captured like that multiple times. Grandfather said something in the previous game. It was something like, magic lies in a miracle of probability. Indeed. As Kinzo was searching for a hidden art to capture me again, he stumbled upon that. Then he finally worked out the ceremony involving the offering of 13 people as sacrifices to revive me again. 13 people as sacrifices. That is the witch's epitaph, a song of sacrifices. 6 people on the first twilight, 2 people on the second, and then 5 more people on the 4th through 8 twilights. A forbidden ceremony involving the offering of a total of 13 people as sacrifices. Those sacrifices were to be chosen randomly, and the one who held the ceremony, Kinzo himself, was no exception. Dumbass. Are you saying that all the gruesome murders on this island were a weird ceremony? Brother, where have you been? Where? I had a vague idea that might be the case. I had a vague idea that might be the case, but I couldn't just hear that it was true from a witch and a demon and say, "Oh, really?" and accept it. There are 18 people on Rokkenjima. 13 are offered as sacrifices, 5 are left alive. Then I revive. In other words, the odds that Kinzo will be able to meet me again are probably around 1 in 3. 18 people, huh? Interesting. Interesting. Fascinating. He bet his own life on those odds, wishing for a reunion with me for the last bit of his remaining life. You're saying he gathered our family for the sake of that joke of a ceremony? Brother! Don't fuck with me. Don't say stuff like that, damn it. It was all set out in our contract from the beginning. When Kinzo's life ended, all the gold I lent him and all of the assets he created would be given to me. Yes, Kinzo did stab me in the back quite brutally. But looking back now, it was a rare and precious time during my 1,000 years of life. After all, boredom is my natural enemy. To Kinzo, who offered me a chance to run away from that for several decades, yes, you could say I owe him for that. I decided to go along with Kinzo's game. So, to start, Kinzo returns the Yoshiromiya family's head ring to me. It was my gold that revived the family, after all. Then 13 people are chosen at random to be sacrifices. While that happens, you all run about, showing me all kinds of human interactions as you try to oppose me, and entertaining me greatly. All kinds of human interactions, huh? Yes, I truly have taken a liking to this game of Kinzos. What'd you say? I definitely won't believe in that kind of magic story. Then who are you? You fell off a cliff and died, right? Your soul slipped out, became butterflies, and went to the forest? That is impossible. But you're here. Who are you? Aren't you the 19th person? That is true. I am the 19th person. But it's useless, right? Zenzen dameda. It's all useless. There are no more than 18 humans on this Rokenjima. What did you say? So you're saying that the X in the 18 plus X doesn't exist? Are you saying the piece I took, the X, doesn't exist? Shut up, Ronove. That is what it means. My condolences. Still, you do move fast, my lady. And I thought you'd let him flounder about before spinning everything around at the end. Well then, Battler-sama, would you like more tea to, would you like some more tea would some more tea be agreeable? I can't read. I don't need it, damn it. I don't believe it. The culprit can't be one of the 18. But then what are you? And why are you here? If the 19th person doesn't exist, then are you saying you're one of the 18 in disguise? Perhaps you are castling. Though reluctantly, you are doubting one of the 18 people as your last way out. However, it will be difficult for me from here on out. If you choose to stop caring about propriety, you could prepare a culprit freely amid 18 people, making you reach checkmate by evading those 18 pieces. Will be truly difficult. As if I do that, I won't suspect any of the 18. I don't want to suspect people. Have I really been cornered here again? Damn it. Damn it, damn it. It looks like we're finally approaching the end in the third round of this game of ours. You've nowhere to run anymore, right? You don't want to suspect any of those beloved people in the 18, do you? Were you trying to hide that from me? Then why do you refuse me? They say you should play the opening like a book, the middle game like a magician, and the end game like a machine. I'll corner you from here on. Slowly, carefully, surely. Or on the other hand, would it be better if I pressed you all at once, which might suit your style more? Yes, that should fit you well. Let's do that. I'm now fully aware of the sorts of attacks you're weakest against. So, we do know. All right, well, if we believe red text, which we're just going to operate under the assumption 0 o'clock. Chivo, I got now we can begin. Save there. Go ahead and save. All right. It won't let me save. There we go. All right. System. Save. All right. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So that means... yeah, that means Beatrice has got to be one of these. One of these fuckers. I want to say it's Jessica, but I guess that's just because of the hair being kind of sort of similar. Does anyone else have colored eyes? I can't get over her hair being colored red. I mean, Rosa is a fashion designer, so she would probably be able to recreate the clothing. Fuck. Shit. Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, that definitely means because in episode 2, we absolutely got Beatrice in the new outfit, just hanging out. And in that moment, the Beatrice that was there in front of everybody, who had people like sort of recognize her. This isn't me saying that the murders aren't being committed by other people. I seriously think Ava is angling hardcore for getting others. But I'm also thinking that this episode introduced a fascinating concept, which is that Ava has a younger version of herself that is being manifested and she is talking to. And we are seeing her, the younger Ava, as a character. And we saw her as a character in a scene. We saw her. The other people couldn't see her, but we saw her. Ava saw her. Ava heard her. Ava reacted to her. And that, to me, may indicate possibly that Rosa has a sort of internalized Beatrice. Or someone else is like sort of leaning into that aspect of Rosa. Maybe Shannon and Rosa are working together. Possibly, maybe, I don't know. But the reason I point that out is because in the last episode, that scene in the church or wherever it was, it could be that the Rosa that we saw in that scene wasn't actually there. Like, she was like beside herself. That version we saw, we were actually seeing a physical manifestation of Beatrice. But she was physically being embodied by Rosa. Rosa's idea of Beatrice. Or maybe how she, I don't know, interprets her to be now. And that the Rosa that we saw in that scene, other people weren't seeing because they were just, because she was seeing it from Beatrice's perspective. Does that make any fucking sense? Yeah, like Jesus. Rosatrice? Maybe. I got a couple candidates. I don't think Ava is off the hook in terms of being one of the people who are like fucking around and killing people. Definitely has machinations, and I would even say that Kraus potentially has some machinations of his own. It's just that for each episode, maybe one person wins out over the others. It can't be Kyrie, can it? Nah. But then again, in terms of age, oh no. Oh no. Oh no. 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 Oh, I hate that I hate that theory made more sense when I thought of why the Rosa's that Maria's father isn't in the picture. Oh. Oh. Oh man. Oh. And I just want to point out, Kinzo's generation offspring produced red hair. Kinzo's generation. Oh. Oh. Oh, Maria. Oh, Maria. Oh, no. Well. All right, we gotta stop. We gotta stop. This is the more time goes by, the more horrible this is. All right, y'all. Thanks everybody for joining. Who got most red hair? What? Is Kinzo Battler's dad? No. I mean, look at that red hair, though. Look at that red hair. That's a different redhead. This is like strawberry blonde, right? Wait, I'm not versed with hair colors. This is more like a blood red. Could have gotten it from her grandmother. I really want to see the grandma. Bro, oh my god. I hate how much sense that makes. Rosa sees that happen. Rosa takes on like sort of an alter ego of Beatrice. Kinzo hates, like scolds Rosa, or Rosa gets love in a way from Kinzo. Kinzo loves Beatrice. Ugh. Oh no. Oh, all right. Good night, everybody. Have fun sleeping with that one. I really hope this is wrong. Regardless, we need to protect Maria. We need to get her out of this situation. Anyway. But yeah, that is very anime red. But yeah, I'm not sure though. It's very possible that someone was trying to pretend to be Beatrice, and then maybe Rosa realized like what was going on and got them out of the picture, maybe? I don't know. Umineko when they inbreed. Oh no. I need to work on the the timeline of that. Anyway, all right. Have a great night. Hope you all enjoyed that. And yeah, we're gonna no stream tomorrow, and we're playing Final Fantasy on Friday. But in the meantime, I got a podcast to finish up. I got all of the VODs to put up on YouTube, and then next week, yeah, I think we're gonna do. I guess we'll do book club on Monday. I guess that makes sense. Yeah, I think that would make sense. All right, book club Monday, 8 o'clock. Catch you all later. Bye. Thanks for joining.